Guys, welcome to my video. Today I will be talking about if we are too harsh towards Star Wars, Attack of the Clones. Also, I know this is a day late, but may the force be with you. Anyways, I'm going to try to determine if we are too harsh towards this by breaking down what I think is good about this movie, what's bad, and what's straight up ugly. I'll start this video off by saying I first watched this movie when I was really young, so I didn't remember that much. Watching this now, I remembered a few scenes from when I was little, like when Sam Wessel died. That was just traumatizing for a little 7-year-old me. That was just scary. But besides that, this movie pretty much had a clean slate in my mind, so I feel like my opinion of it wasn't really swayed by any nostalgia. To start off, what I think was good about this movie is that I think Count Dooku is a great villain. Even though he's not the big bad guy that's Palpatine, he's still a really scary villain. Christopher Lee did an amazing job portraying Dooku. Also, the lightsaber duel of Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan vs. Dooku was awesome. I like seeing Dooku taunting Obi-Wan, that was great, and I love seeing Yoda actually do some fighting. The Kamino part of the story was great and really interesting. I just wish they showed some more of it. Jango Fett was great too, and the producers did a great job showing how sad Jango's fate was for Boba. Also, Boba looks just like Jango, so good job casting for whoever did that, I thought that was a really good job. And the score of this movie is just great, as usual. John Williams did a great job. I think C-3PO and R2-D2 are great in this. It's so funny, in my opinion, when C-3PO is swapped with a battle droid. That joke did drag a little longer than I think it should have, but it was still funny nonetheless. Obi-Wan is awesome in this. I love seeing him go from being really young in The Phantom Menace to older and more mature, but he still has this almost brotherly relationship with Anakin, which is pretty entertaining. Also, just in general, I think a great part of this movie is how it introduced clones. If it wasn't for this introduction, we wouldn't have shows like the Clone Wars, or even the Bad Batch, which premiered just yesterday. It was really good. And the prequel era wouldn't be the same. The clones are really something special. Also, the Battle of Geonosis is really good. I love it so much when the clones show up. It's really awesome. Although, to add on to what I just said about the clones, they aren't really in this movie that much, at all really. For a movie called Attack of the Clones, they only really show up at the end, and they're just cannon fodder. I'm really glad we have a Clone Wars that flesh them out though, but in this it's a little disappointing really. They're only there for a few scenes, the premise is about them, sure, with Obi-Wan going to Kamino, and they move the plot forward, but they're not actually there. You don't see them in action until the end, and that's just really disappointing. The lightsaber duel and all that good action that I mentioned before is pretty much at the end. Like the clones too, there are some great things about Attack of the Clones, but in my opinion they are far and few between. This movie isn't paced very well, and I almost feel like it's better to skip to the last 30 minutes or so. It's just more entertaining, and a lot of the stuff in the beginning feels like filler, like the Sam Wessel hunt. That was boring. Bad CGI took away from any enjoyment I would have had of it, and like I said, it just seems really like filler. Now let's get to what I really didn't like about this movie. The CGI. It was bad. The clones are CGI and they look absolutely terrible. Awful. They hurt my eyes to look at. Just why? Other than the clones, so many other things look terrible. The green screen is so obvious. The Battle of Geonosis is really entertaining, but some of the effects are just not good. The ships look horrendous in the air. The animations for them look like they were never even rendered. I get that this movie was made in 2002, but come on. If the CGI looks that bad, go for practical effects. Finally, to end my rant on the effects, why does Jango's armor look so bad? It looks so much like foam, it even crumples in one scene. I thought this was supposed to be Beskar, the strongest material in Star Wars, pretty much. Why does it crumple like foam? It's just so stupid. Also, everyone says this about this movie, but the dialogue is so bad. They don't use hardly any contractions, which makes things sound so weird and just oddly formal. It's always people saying "we do not" instead of something normal like "we don't." It just sounds so weird because that's all they say. The love story between Padme and Anakin is terrible. Padme straight up says that Anakin makes her uncomfortable, and what I'm assuming is a few days later she confesses her love to him. What? She also says Anakin is just like the little boy she knew in Tatooine or something like that early on in the movie, which is a little weird since they get married later on. This romance is just so poorly written. It's also an awful example for kids watching this movie. If a girl tells you that you make her uncomfortable, it's not a good example that was set in this movie that you should keep pursuing it. It's just not good. This romance is awful. It was not compelling at all. It was bad. Anyways, even though there's so much bad about this movie, it was entertaining enough. Don't get me wrong, it was pretty bad, but I still enjoyed it. There were just a lot of things that made me enjoy this movie a lot less. This movie isn't a train wreck by any means, nor is it a Star Wars movie. That's the video for another time. It's bad, and to get to a title of the video, were we too harsh on this movie? I say no, it deserved its fair share of criticism. It had good moments, it had some really bad ones, but in general, it deserves some harshness, honestly. I don't think it's the worst movie for Star Wars. I don't think it's the best, by far. But I do think it deserves some criticism. I rate Star Wars The Attack of the Clones a 7 out of 10. So, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video because it would really mean a lot. Make sure to tell me if there are any movies or shows you'd like to see me review next, and I will see you in the next video.